Right, okay, so this is just for you, Joey, a private video just to show you what I've been up to with this touch controller that I'm designing. Everything's been made from scratch using something called OSC, which stands for Open Stage Control. It's amazing. When it's finished, it will literally work on any touchscreen and be scalable to any size and retain all of its look and shape and aesthetic and stuff. But anyway, here's the main page. It's all work in progress. Every single button is just placeholder. You know, I can literally use icons and artwork, as you can see, with this awesome cartoon character of me. And welcome to Jono, not Bonophonic Touch. We start here. This is the main toolbar. This whole bottom thing is an interactive toolbar that I'm designing. Like I said, work in progress. But here we have a main and MIDI articulation sample library, so you instantly can see what's happening. So these buttons here are zoom buttons, and I personally always have the zoom buttons. They may be half the size, they may be bigger, I don't know yet. But I don't ever want to hide those because I'm always using the zoom buttons. These buttons here, they're going to be a panel of configuration buttons, lower zone selection, all that kind of stuff that is always used, stuff that I do not want to bank or hide. Then we've got render audio. I use that all the time, so that needs to stay there. And then we have all of these other red ones, which are also menu buttons, but they do different things. So let's start with MIDI. You go into here. The MIDI page right now is the most advanced because there's just so much to it. Advanced MIDI editing windows. So we start here. We've got controller lane visibility. These have been named when I actually bother doing that. So for example, you press that and it will show mod data, or it will show expression data, or it will show sustain, or it will show mod and expression, or vibrato. All of these programmable. Show and hide the controller lane data, show only the UCCs, all that kind of stuff. Select velocity. So I can just say, can you just select any velocity that's at 71, between 71 and 80? Or say I just actually want to use, make all my kick drums 51, I just press that and they're done. Here, if I want to delete any mod data expression, I hit delete. If I want select, I hit, if I want to select anything, I select. If I want to copy anything, I just copy. Here we have our usual suspects for legato, fin out, step input, all that kind of stuff. And selecting and deleting data before or after the cursor is really handy. So this is going to be another tool panel that I haven't finished yet. But say I just want to actually raise and lower mod wheel, I press that and we can do that -1, 2, 5 or 10, or add to mod. And I've programmed some pretty handy commands to compress and expand mod data as well, which is kind of an interesting thing. But that works for expression, vibrato and velocity as well, all unified, so when you learn one, you know it all. Now, the advanced MIDI editing windows. I'll remind you, we go to MIDI and CC faders. So we've got mod data, expression, vibrato, volume, anything I want. And I will add more, but the tightness for sample libraries, release, I've got them all working together at the minute, which is funny. Mic positions for the libraries, close, tree, ambient, outriggers, gallery. I'm going to have a menu system here. So if I don't just, these are going to be the 5 bog standard ones. These first 3 are the ones that everyone should always use anyway, close, mid and far. But I'm going to have selection button, state, junkie, XL, brass, and every mic will show. Hans Zimmer strings, every mic will show. And they'll all be routed or have the option to route wherever. XY pads, so for sound design and stuff, or if you want to blend the X with mod wheel data and the Y with expression, like depending on the sample library, you could easily get a really wicked blend of timbre change, or you could do some sound design. I'm also going to have, oh, I haven't finished, a very rough looking thing. 2 XY pads, and these will have 4 points on each, so you can have some funky stuff going on. But yeah, an arpeggiator that I have not built yet. I just had this idea, and I'm going to call it the JMB arpeggiator, obviously. We've got ADHSR, instantly adjust any sample library that will work on CC values. And again, these are placeholder knobs. I don't think they're going to look gay pink like this. although you probably would like that. So I'll make sure that yours is like that. Nudge panel, advanced MIDI nudging, so you can nudge your data by one frame, one sample, a bar, you know, whatever. Like, this is going to have a deep set of options, which is why it's nested, because you're not going to use that a lot, but it's there in case you go, you know what, I just need to fucking nudge that by one frame. go find that button. Which also is why on this main page there's going to be just select few. There's going to be like raise mod data by 10 and lower it and add to an octave, and there's going to be a mixture of different things. Like on the metagrid page, you know, you're going to have just a few choice things that are always used. Anyway, let's go back to the MIDI. Then I'm going to have the quantize panel, and that's going to have all quantize options. Because I don't use all the quantize options. I use some of it, but every once in a while it's really good to actually quantize, use quantize presets to, you know, take a drum loop of MIDI stuff and humanize it and then do weird stuff to it. So that's going to have the whole panel in there. We're going to have transpose as well, which is going to have everything like add one, add a major third, add a fifth, add an octave, and all that kind of shit. And scales as well will probably be in here, so you can just literally select any notes, press Mixolydian, and it'll change it. Weird shit. I think I'll keep that close to my chest right now. It's good to have a nice little surprise. Articulations. This is for expression maps. So these are just placeholder, but I got it fully working the other day. If I use expression maps, I can press this button and my sample library will be a sustain, or say I suddenly want spiccato, I press that, and all the data when you press will be recorded in Cubase in the expression map, so you can just play it back what you perform. And that's if you use expression maps, which I know you don't, but I tried using them a little while ago and I was loving it. So the beauty of this page is that it's going to be completely contextual. When you click on Spitfire, Spiccato and Cubase, only the articulations for that library and controls will appear for that library. And then you click on Junkie XL Brass, only the 9 articulations for that will appear. So you don't just have hundreds of buttons that you don't ever use. Sample library selection, so you want a Hans Zimmer strings, click there and it appears. That's if you use a template like that. If not, then none of this stuff is needed, you know. Audio is going to have mixed console stuff and audio editing features. Haven't built this yet. Preferences, folder for all Cubase Nuendo preferences that you basically want to use but don't always, like stuff like enable solo on selected tracks. That's useful when you just want to use that on soloed tracks, but when you want to enable solo on multiple tracks, it's a pain in the ass. So having preferences in here that you can on and off is kind of useful. Edit, that's going to just be all the edit tools. And yeah, that's a quick run through of that shit. Now down here in this panel, we've got other things like tracks, like we can select mono, stereo track, basic stuff. Transposition, that's definitely going to be moved into here, into MIDI. So that's old, but something else will go in here. You're going to have, like I said before, I think configurations and lower zone and right zone and all the shortcut bars for that. Quantize panel is going to be up here. Like I said, in the MIDI, because you don't really use it. I may have a quantize panel out here as well for audio, actually. Markers, extreme marker panel selection, secret stuff, and then I've got all my branding track stuff that I personally use, but that could be custom for anyone. And here is what I've been working on for the last couple of days. Note selection. So you click on this and all of a sudden this turns into a note selector, and I've called it the Jono, not Bonophonic note selection panel. It's very creative, I know. Here on the left hand side, which can have a modifier to change to anything else, but it's going to be lower and raise selected MIDI data. Here on the right, we've got time signature selection. So we've got 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, up to 7, 8 at the moment. I don't want to go too wild with that because I could have 16, 8 and it's just, you know, it's just pointless. Or 21, 8 I used to write in my metal band, but I think these are the main food groups. Then we've got triplet and dotted, and these are just for convenience. You can instantly turn your Cubase Nuendo project into triplet time, because let's say that you quickly go, oh, we really need some da 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 kind of things. You flick it on triplet and then you've got that. So let's say that we're just working in 4/4 time. hit 4/4, and then all of a sudden this bar changes, indicates 4/4 time signature note selection, and the JMB note select panels are here. So let's just click on one to show you what it looks like. Here is the note select grid, or panel I should say. These top ones select in, that's the first 16th beat or note, second, third, fourth, fifth, and I've just labeled them right now for numbering and have images on, but these ones here are triplets of the same bars or same groups, and these ones here add a beat or select a beat on every single bar. Bar 1, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4, and they cover all the notes across. So to it really depends. Note selection, there are all sorts of ways. There are so many different ways of selecting different notes, and all the notes kind of share the same timing anyway, so it's kind of tricky to program all this. But let's say the first thing is when you look in a region, they're called events in Cubase, but if you select an event and basically want to hit all the first beats, then you hit 1, and then that will select everything. But the problem is, what if I just want to select the first beats in a pre-chorus of a song? And let's say that we need to actually work on the pre-chorus and it needs a bit of ramping up in tension. If you use this option with event, it will select all of them in the whole event, and that's no good. So that's why I've created selected data. So if you select data and press beat 1, it will only show beat 1 of your selected data. And let's say that that's not accurate enough. Let's say that we want to actually do within locators, as in let's do the pre-chorus, hit data in locators, hit beat 1, and that will select just beat 1. And I can demonstrate that, but this is only a short little video to show you what I'm doing. Here is a little ace up the sleeve. These are eighths, so you have 16ths, and I chose 16ths specifically because 16ths I think is the thing that most people work in when it comes to editing string ostinatos. And if you want eighths, then you just press the next ones. They're all eighths, and then obviously these are quarters. And then the triplets work with that. However, the triplets therefore are eighth triplets, and that's not good enough if you want 16ths. So you press the toggle, and this then changes to 16ths. And that's the same on all these panels. There might be a toggle button to toggle the 16ths to 32 notes. I have already created the commands, but yeah. That summarizes this short personal private video, and obviously it all looks a bit, I don't know, workman-like and stuff at the moment, but I put this graphic in here just for a bit of fun, just to show that you can have artwork in here and stuff. But I'm really pleased with how this is panning out, and you know, bit more time needed, probably another 100,000 hours of programming, but I think this would be quite a cool thing to use for Cubase. Anyway, have a good weekend, man.